Hello guys, I'm very happy to be here today speaking at that conference. I know that you're tired and there is almost lunchtime, but only 20 minutes and we will be done. My presentation is a little bit different. It is something like a showcase how we're doing things in my company, in my team especially. But before we start, let me say a few words about me. My name is Mitev and I'm coming from Bulgaria. Very small and nice country, not so far away from here. And I'm working as QA architect at Progress. You may know Progress, Telerica, Sitefinity. This is the same company actually. And my team is responsible for the backend service creation. This is something that you can use in your mobile application development. I have almost all kinds of ITA-STQB certificates and I'm one of the official trainers in Bulgaria. And I'm certified Scrum Master. That's all about me. And now here is the agenda, what we are going to talk about today. The simple QA workflow, how we started, what problem we faced with that workflow, and how we switched to advanced QA workflow. And then the fun part, I will tell you about the magic, and of course if there is time, we will have Q&A session. So, the simple QA workflow. Long time ago, I was responsible for the quality in one of our projects. So, when we finished with the first phase of analysis and review of our requirements and our specification, there was a time to start with the real testing, and our first and most basic step was the manual test cases creation and execution. Of course, you can select several black box techniques like boundary value analysis and equivalence partitioning, and you will be able to create your manual test cases. Nowadays, everybody is talking about automation, right? I want to automate that, I want to automate this, I want to automate everything. And there is nothing bad in the automation, but be careful when you start with the automation. Because if you are doing the things manually and you are doing them wrong, the automation will help you nothing more but just to do the same things faster, right? And they again will be wrong. So be careful when you start with your automation. So we created our manual test cases, and now when someone came at our team and say, guys, we have new version of our product, start with your testing activities, we were starting with the manual test cases execution, and we were able to deliver some results in several days. Well, at one time we realized that we are not fast enough and we couldn't catch up with the speed of our development team, so we decided to make the next logical step, namely to automate our test cases. Well, here you can select a variety of open source or commercial tools to select your approach, like capture and replay, or using keyword-driven approach or data-driven approach. It doesn't matter. The point here is to automate your test. And now we were faster. So when the developer came and say we have new version, I was able to open my tool to select the test cases and to execute them. Well, that was very cool at that time. However, at one day, we realized that actually we are very slow. The management came and said, guys, you are doing very good stuff with your QA activities. We are able to deliver very quality products, but we are very, very slow. And the market today wants to be fast. Okay, if we speak in numbers, slow means 3 days. We were able to execute our activities in 3 days. How fast do you want to be? I asked our management, and they said, okay, we want to continue to deliver our software with the same level of quality, but we want to do this in 1 single hour. Well, definitely there was a need to change something, right, in our process, because 3 days and 1 hour, the difference is very big. So, we sit with the team and decided to extend our process by adding few more steps. this is not standard QA activities, so I will call these steps QA ops steps, because they require some skills, some programming knowledge, and it is not very easy to implement these steps, but it's possible. So, of course, there are a lot of technical details behind each of these steps, and there is no time to discuss in details now, so I will tell you only briefly about them. First, and the most important thing which I want to remember is that the important is to make one step at a time. No need to implement everything together, only one step at a time. And this was my separate pieces of the puzzle. And now I started, me and my team, to implement these steps. First, I was able to execute my automation test, but manually. Can I automate the execution of our automated test? Sure. Unfortunately, I was not luckily at that moment, and I didn't have any built-in functionality in my tool with which I will be able easily to schedule the execution. So I created several bat files with which I was able to schedule the execution of the night, for example. And I was very happy because this was my first QA ops step. So, unfortunately, nobody was happy with my bat files because there were hundreds of bat files and it was not easy to maintain. It was not easy to execute them because you have to log in on some virtual machines to search for the specific bat files and to start it. Furthermore, at the end we have thousands of logs files, and it was not easy to analyze these log files. It was not easy to answer on the question, are we getting better with our last execution in comparison with the execution from 3 days ago, for example. So we decided to improve that step somehow. And how we improve it? Using some continuous integration tools like Jenkins. At my time it was called Hudson, TeamCity, GitLab, CI. At the moment there are around 50 tools for continuous integration which you can use, and most of them are open source. So we transferred our bat files in Jenkins, and now it was very easy to execute our automation, simply starting the Jenkins job. Well, and additionally, we are able to retry our execution. If the job failed, you can easily retry the execution. And we had around probably 1,000 jobs, and I was able to generate these 1,000 jobs in a couple of minutes. This, talking specifically for Jenkins, can be achieved with DSL, which is domain-specific language. You can write some Groovy script, and you may generate your jobs in a couple of minutes. So if something bad happened with my Jenkins, I am able to generate it automatically. Well, still we were progressing, but nothing to do with the speed of our QA activities. We still were very slow. So at that time I said, okay guys, we have hundreds of jobs and we're executing them for 8 hours on a single machine. If we have 2 machines, we can execute them for 4 hours. If we have 16 machines, we can execute for 30 minutes. And this can be some physical machines, some virtual machines, some Dockers if you want. It doesn't matter. Okay, but how I'm going to generate my machines? 16 machines, well, I can do it manually, but imagine the situation when I have to upgrade something. If I need to switch to a newer version of my tool, opening 16 machines and doing this manually, well, it's a not good solution. So we decided to use some of the most popular platforms like Ansible, Puppet, Chef. These are all platforms for configuration management. At that time we were using Puppet, now we're using Ansible. So we create our Ansible script, and now when I start the Ansible script, I'm able to generate these machines for several minutes. So now we have very, very fast execution. for 30 minutes. And we have every single piece of my puzzle implemented. And the next step was to connect everything logically. That step happened with the help of my DevOps team. There is a real DevOps team, actually. So, what this some example workflow. So, the first step was what I wanted is when the developer checks in something, when he commits something in the code base, to have automatic compilation, automatic build of the code, and automatic execution of our unit tests. And that was happening for a couple of minutes. So, if everything with that step is okay, we were going automatically promoting to the next environment where our service tests were executing, our integration tests. And if everything is okay with that step, we were moving automatically to the next environment. There, I was able to execute my unit test, my load test, my stress test, my endurance test, and all this was happening automatically. The idea behind these single stages, which you see behind me, is to build confidence in your software. So, this is how we do the things in my team, but I was sure that still something is missing in my process. And what was missing was the visibility of the whole things which were happening at the same time. Because at that time there were a lot of Jenkins jobs, a lot of monitoring systems like Zabbix, like New Relic, like Pingdom, like PagerDuty, a lot of systems. And I was not able to monitor everything at the same time. I have to sit on my computer, open one browser, then start 10 tabs and check the situation in every single system. So, what was the solution? I went to my boss and said, hey boss, I want 200 euros. Why do you want? To buy one big TV and to put that TV on my room. What are you going to do with this TV watching the Euro 2016? No. Something else. I will implement some dashboard with which I will be able to monitor the whole process. Okay, you have the TV. And after several weeks, we implemented our dashboard. This is the real dashboard at the moment. In the reality, it is very interactive. A lot of blocks are blinking, shaking, and so on. And that was implemented with the help of the dashing. So when someone entered in our room, he was able to understand for several seconds what exactly is going at the moment. He was able to understand how many bugs we have, how many of them are in development, how many of them are in testing. He was able to see what are the results from the performance test, from the load test. Are we getting better? He was able to understand if there are any disaster triggers with the blue color, any high triggers, and so on. So if management now want to tell about the progress of our work, I was able to send the URL, and the manager can open the dashboard and see what is the situation. No more sending emails or reporting, single open of that URL. And when everything was done, you can make a selfie with your team, but only when you're green, sorry. Take a look that at the moment of the selfie, we had only several blocks on the TV, right? This is what I said at the beginning, one step at a time. So when we first created that dashboard, we had only several widgets, and now we have much more. I can even add the live score from the Euro 2016 on my dashboard, if I want, yeah. So, do you remember the word magic in my session title? Actually, it is inspired from one of my colleagues, very smart and nice guy, developer. Well, I use developer and nice guy in one sentence, but indeed, he is such. So, That guy used to repeat every single day, I want to have one big red button, and when I press that button, everything to happen automatically. Of course, he was kidding with us, probably trying to see how far we can go with our automation madness, but I guess and something else. I guess that he underestimated the QA motivation, QA skills, and QA desire to prove themselves. So, after several days, when he came at work, I said, ragazzo, here is your button. Just select what action you want, press the button, and everything will happen automatically. This is real box with real big red button. I was even thinking to get that box here on the conference, but then I imagined the situation when I'm sitting on the airport in front of the security control, and they're asking me, what are you doing with this button? Well, answering them, I'm executing my test, and I'm deploying something will be definitely not a good solution. So I left my box in Sofia. So a few words about that box. It is actually with Arduino chipset, and when you press the button, simple Python script was executed, with which Python script some Jenkins jobs were triggered. Of course, you may ask me, can I simply sit on the computer and start the Jenkins job? Sure, you can. The implementation of that box was just symbolic, just to show that there is nothing that we cannot achieve. So, thank you guys for your attention.